I mean, the family has always talked about him. And so she's looking at these pictures of adult Luis on the internet going, could this be him? That uncle? And she starts comparing them to childhood photos she has of her uncle. And she's like, yeah, I think that's him. And so eventually she goes to the police and she's like, oh, you have to look into this. I think this guy was my uncle who was kidnapped literally back in 1951. And police can't believe it. And they actually do agree to help, as the case was never solved. And so they open it back up, and then they get the FBI involved, and then the California Department of Justice joins in. And after a bit of investigating, the FBI goes and they track Luis down, and he lives somewhere on the East Coast. And so I guess the FBI goes to him, and they're like, we think you might be this kid who was kidnapped back in 1951. And Luis is like, I was kidnapped? See, because he still didn't even know. Like, he thought he had been legitimately adopted. So they convince him to take a DNA test just to be sure. And of course, it turns out that his DNA is a match with Alida and the remaining members of his family. And so now, after 73 years, he finally flies from the East Coast back to Oakland, California to meet his biological family.
A man reunited with his family 70 years after being abducted after he was found through a voluntary DNA swab test.
Now, keep in mind, most of these family members he's either never met or he just doesn't remember. But one person he does remember, his brother, Roger, who he reunites with, and this is a picture of the two of them. That's Luis on the right and Roger on the left. So then, after all that, who was responsible for this kidnapping? Well, unfortunately, that's a tough one, because 70 years have gone by. We don't know who the woman in the green bandana was, and Luis was 6 years old, so he doesn't remember too many details of it. And his adopted parents aren't even alive anymore. So honestly, I don't know if we'll ever know.